Okay, so this is the Uttara Narayana verse 4 and 5, right? Which is in our case, I think in our case it's 22 and 23. 20, sorry, hold on. It's 22 and 23. Yo devebhya atapati, yo devanam purohitah, purvo yo devebhyo jatah, namo ruchaya brahmaye, rucham brahmam janayantah, deva agre tadabruvan, yastvaivam brahmano vidyat, tasya deva asanvashe. So what is, let's look at the word meanings first and then look at what the intention is. Yo devebhya atapati, the one who comes or shines in the gods. Devebhya atapati. Yo devanam purohitah, the one who all the devas consider themselves as the purohita. Purvo yo devebhyo jatah, the one who is appeared, one who appears or came or was born before the Devatas. Namo Ruchaya Brahmaye, to such this Parabrahman, I salutate, I salute. Yo Devebhya Atapati, Yo Devanam Purohitah, Purvo Yo Devebhyo Jatah, Namo Ruchaya Brahmaye, to such a Brahman, I salute. Then next one is Rucham Brahmam Janayantah, Deva Agre Tadabruvan, Yastvaivam Brahmano Vidyat, Tasya Deva Asanvashe. So what it says, Rucham Brahmam Janayantah. So the one from the knowledge of this Brahman is emanating from this Purusha, this person that is the person or the Purusha we are talking about. Deva Agre Tadabruvan. This is there even before the Devatas came. It was there in the beginning. So whatever we refer back to the beginning, this was there. Yastvaivam Brahmano Vidyat. Whoever knows this truth and the one who knows this truth, Tasya Deva Asanvashe, in his control, all the Devatas are. All the Devatas are in his control. Asan Vashe, Devaha Asan Vashe, his control. Tasya Devaha Asan Vashe. So in his control, all the Devas will be there. So these two verses are talking about some Devatas. What Devatas are they talking about? They're talking about these Devatas that are, okay, just looking at the word Deva. Deva comes from the word Div. Div means light, effulgent, that which is effulgent. Divya, Diya. All of these words come from the same root, Div, which is light. And Deva are these effulgent celestial beings. Effulgent means what? They have a certain power, or they have a certain they have a certain light of themselves. Now, it may not be themselves, it may be sourced from the Brahman, which is what they're going to talk about. But it is essentially, these are all lighted beings. Lighted means what? They don't, in our experience, they don't have any decay. Why is astrology called as Jyotisha? Astrology in Sanskritam is called Jyotisha. Jyotisha Shastra is astrology. Because it is the description or the study of the lighted objects. Celestial objects are known to be lighted up. And they are lighted up due to maybe the sun lights them up, or the stars get lighted up on their own due to their implosion and all of that. How they get lighted up is a different thing. But in our experience, these celestial bodies are always there. Have you come across anybody, or have you heard of anybody who's not seen the sun? The sun is called the Jyotir Gananam Pataye. Jyotir Gananam Pataye. Correct. In Aditya Hridayam. So, have you come across somebody who says that, I was I was not, I have never seen the stars. Of course, and the poor chap is born in an urban city and there are lights and floodlights everywhere. He probably wouldn't have seen stars. But typically, it's hard. But that aside, but you won't find somebody saying that I've not seen stars, or I've not seen the moon, or I've not seen the breeze or the wind or the water or the air. These are all devatas, right? These are all the natural functionaries are devatas. These the functions that keep going on in nature. Yama, for example, is a devata. He is the god of death, which means he is the god of regulation. He makes sure that things are cleansed off so that new things can be born. Vayu Devata, Varuna Devata, Agni Devata, all of these are Devatas in that context. The light, which means they are always present. You may come and go, they are there. In our context. Okay? So, you look up to them, which is why even in the Mahabharata, the story of Krishna coming and teaching the people that you have to start looking beyond Indra, because Indra was worshipped as the god that protected them, that gave them everything. Even the Rig Veda has 25% of the verses attributed to Indra Devata. Devendra, he is the or he is the lord of all the Devatas. He is the king. So these Devatas, in our experience, they are existing. So consider between you and them, who has a longer half-life period. Radioactive elements la half-life period nu solluva. What is the half-life? Your existence versus their existence. Who's been longer? Has the earth been longer, or you've been longer? Has the wind and the trees and the plant and the minerals have been longer, or you've been longer? They've been longer than you in your experience. Now, if you go back to geology and you start studying the origin of the universe, how life came and all of that, obviously there was a time when these things also appeared. But in your own experience, these are there. These have been there. So divya, they are light. That light is always there, right? Their presence is not diminished in your experience. So hence they are called devatas. They are always existing in that context. Now, the interesting thing is what the Rishi here is saying. Even before what you consider as this devata, this Purusha is there. So he is almost inaccessible, because you can't access the truth of the origin of a plant. You can't access the truth of that. You can't access the truth of how the water flows in the ocean, how was the samudra created. You have no access to that information. You have no access to that truth. So if you consider those as glorious and significant things in your experience, it's saying this Purusha is even greater so. This is Yo devebhya atapati. So these the this Brahman or this Purusha that we are talking about, they this Purusha is the one who makes the Devatas shine. Yo Devanaam Purohitah. He is for the Devatas that you consider to be exalted. For them, he is the one they look up to. Devanaam Purohitah. He is the priest or the primordial one amongst the Devatas. Purvo yo devebhyo jatah. Purvo, he has come before the Devatas. Before the Devatas, this Purusha has come. Jatah has been born. Namo ruchaya brahmaye. I bow down to this Brahman. So what is happening here is that it is drawing our attention from that which we experience as this Prakriti, this world, as my experience, as my life, whatever. All of this is a bundle. My life is a bundle of these experiences that I have with all of these luminaries. The Rishi is pointing out that this Purusha that I am talking about in the Purusha Suktam is something that is even beyond that. So you may not be able to perceive. You may not be able to perceive me if you stop your perception till them. So this is a way of Purusha saying you may not be able to perceive me if your perception stops here. If I'm going to pray to the tree as the tree itself, I won't be able to see what is enlivening the tree. If I bring a rock home, it looks like a linga. I go collect. You go to the Brahmaputra river, you'll find a lot of lingas. You've been on a Kailash Manasarovar Yatra. So the Brahmaputra Nadi flows there. And then when you go there, it's a very undisturbed place. And you'll find a lot of beautiful stones that look like lingas. Many people collect that. A lot of people collect, they come and give to others also, and then they also keep. So some people keep that linga because these stones are undisturbed. You don't have animal, human beings loiter around there and they don't defecate the place. So these are in that sense undisturbed, and you don't know for how many years those stones have been there and they've had those formations, right? Same thing, Gantaki Nadi, you go a little further from in Nepal, a little further from Kathmandu, on the way to Muktinath. There is Gantaki Nadi where they find thousands and thousands of Shaligrama stones. You bring that stone, you will keep it in the house and you will pray to the stone. Now, what are you doing? You're invoking a certain aspect which is beyond the stone into the stone. So the stone is a Devata because by the definition of what Devata is, it's a light or luminary or a celestial that is existing even when you don't exist. It continues to exist. So stones have always existed. So in a way, stone is a Devata. You bring that and you invoke what? You invoke that which is beyond the stone into that stone, and you're associating that stone in that form. But if I restrict myself to that stone, if I restrict myself to that particular form, then I won't get access to that which is beyond that. And so this restriction is what he is saying, I want you to remove. I want you to see these Devatas. Before this Devata was that Purusha. These Devatas that you are worshipping today are looking up to the same Devata, the same Purusha. So somebody who is wanting to know the truth of things, you look directly to that, or you look through me, but see him through me. There's a very beautiful story in Kena Upanishad, particularly to this regard. And the story is about um, there's a story that the five Panchabhutas, or essentially at least the three or four Panchabhutas, like Agni, Vayu, Varuna, they are they're feeling very strong and strong headed. They're saying that we are so strong that there's no one equal to us. Not knowing that they themselves are powered by some power. They are not realizing this. Because they're able to, Agni Devata, if he wishes, he can burn down the whole creation. Varuna Devata, if he wishes, he can just flood the whole, whichever place. Doesn't matter, he can flood the place. Vayu Devata, he can blow things off. Right? So they started developing this pride that we are the all powerful. And then the story goes that this Bhagavan, Ishvara, decided to help them get over this pride. So he comes like a small boy, a little boy, and comes and stands there, and somehow he challenges them, and he says, I don't think you guys are greater. There is someone else who's greater than you. And they get threatened. Right? Whenever somebody touches your nerve center of that which you hold pride in, then it's very easy to pull you into a fight. Till then, they'll be okay. You can tell them whatever. That which you hold your pride in, and this is something very important. We need to be always aware where my pride lies. Like we spoke about the story of Mallikarjuna Swami, right? Shiva came in the form of Kirata, and he provoked Arjuna. Whatever he told Arjuna, it didn't matter to him. Oh, you are this, as we said, right? Your father has not birthed you. You're somebody else's son. Your father has two wives. All that he will listen to it. But the moment Shiva said that, what kind of a warrior are you? Finished. அதை மட்டும் நீங்க சொல்லிருக்க கூடாது சார். Now you've touched that nerve. Now same thing within us, we should also be, it's something, and a lot of times it will happen to us also, right? We've all experienced this. There are times when something is said to us which we hold pride on, that can disturb us, it can throw us off, right? And we end up charging the other person, which we are all victim to. We fall victim to this. We go and charge the other person, not realizing that it is something within that creates that unrest. And that unrest is created because there is a certain thing that we are holding on to in form of pride, in form of association, attachment, whatever. And that gets touched. That gets, each one, it is very different. Right? Somebody you tell, like the other day, we had this instance. If somebody is very, very, has spent a lot of time and very dear, has done a lot of research and got a car, for example, and is very, very happy with the kind of work that he has done and done all his studies and got this car. And somebody points out something, instantly he'll get defensive as though something somebody told something about him. You just told something about the car. Ayo, this car, I heard this. If you say like this, then this person will immediately get defensive about the car. Car why wouldn't the car is not going to stand up to say, why are you saying like this about me? But this guy will stand up to defense. Why? Because his pride is rested in that car, that association. So these three Devatas, they have associated their pride in their power of what they can achieve. And think about it, it's very interesting. They can achieve this power through, or which means your pride relies in how much destruction you can cause with your power. Agni will think, if I think I can burn the whole place down. So the pride rests in how you can use the power to overpower. The pride lies in that. So now this little boy is standing there, he's challenging them, saying, what nonsense, you guys are nothing in front of that. It doesn't reveal what that is. He says, there is a power greater than you, and you guys are nothing in front of it. And they say, what nonsense, what are you talking about? And we don't want to indulge in a small boy like you. And then he comes again and provokes them. Saying, I'm telling you, there is somebody who's much greater than you guys. And then he says, okay, what do you want us to do to prove it? Then he picks a twig. This is how the story goes in the Kena Upanishad. He picks a twig and he holds the twig in front of him, and he tells Agni Devata, do what you can to burn this. Agni Devata tries all his might, and he is not able to burn the twig. And he is completely ashamed of, first he is absolutely stunned by how he is not able to. But this twig that this boy is holding, he could possibly burn out all the twigs around him. But this twig that the boy is holding is not able to burn or do anything. Then comes Vayu Devata. He tries to blow it off. The twig is not even moving a little bit, just stays there. Then Varuna Devata comes and tries to wet it with water. It remains absolutely dry. Not a single drop of moisture or wetness in that twig. Then they realize that this boy is not an ordinary boy, right? So this is the story. It says that how the Purusha or Brahman or Ishvara comes and quells their pride. And then the verses go that this boy is the representation of that Brahman which governs and powers these Devatas. By the power of that Brahman alone, these Devatas are able to function. Yo devebhyo atapati, yo devanam purohitah. Yo Purvo yo devebhyo jatah namo ruchaya brahmaye. To such a Brahman I bow down. And then he goes on to say, the one who knows this truth, that these Devatas only came later. That which we hold as supreme in our experience of the world they themselves are governed and powered by some power. The one who knows this, Rucham Brahmam Janayantah Deva Agre Tadabruvan, that this Purusha was even before the Devas. Yastvaivam Brahmano Vidyat, so the one who knows this, Tasya Deva Asanvashe, in his Vasha. In his Vasha means what? In his control. In his the Devatas are in his control. Tasya Vasha Devaha Asan. That is how you read it. All the Devatas are in his Vasha, which means in his control, which means these Devatas cannot influence, impact you in any way. It is like that twig. Imagine yourself to be that twig. If we are in the hand of the Paramapurusha, Paramatma, in his hand, like that twig, then any Devata comes, that twig will not get impacted, influenced. It doesn't mean that the twig can go and control the Agni Devata and control the Vayu Devata. The Vasha doesn't mean that I can now control. Now suddenly I can look like this and fire will come through the eyes. It is not like that. It's not that you take control and you start doing all nonsense, right? It's not like that. That is not what it means by such a person will have the Devatas in his Vasha, means he'll not be influenced or he'll not be impacted by these Devatas. Right? Now, the other important thing also to note here is if you are praying to Lord Narayana and you say Narayana, Paro Brahma, is Narayana is Parabrahman, and I am devoted to Narayana. Day and night I am chanting Om Namo Narayana, Om Namo Narayana. And then I look at this verse. I say, oh, for me, that Paramapurusha is Narayana, which means all these Devatas are subservient to me. Then again, there is a pride that is setting in there. These are also things that we need to be watchful, right? Because the same Narayana is operating through all of these Devatas. What it means that these Devatas will be subservient means that you don't have to worry about the effects of Prakriti on you. Prakriti's effect on your body, on your mind, will not be there. The Graha doshas, for example, all of these doshas that we have, right? Naga Sarpa dosha, this dosha, and all of that. There is a shop in Singapore which is called as 108 doshas.
தோசாவா இல்ல தோஷமா குருஜி?
That is dosa.
மலையாளிஸ் ரெண்டையுமே தோஷான்னு தான் சொல்லுவா.
So you walk into that, you don't know what you're getting. 108 dosas. You don't know how many doshas you're carrying back with that. But just a joke. But the point is that there are so many doshas that are there that we have born with, we come with because of our various birth, whatever we're carrying. There are these doshas that come along. Now, these doshas are planetary in nature. Planetary means what? Certain combination, certain way these constellations are there. They have an impact on us. But when we look to that Narayana, that Shiva, that Devi, which is beyond and which powers all of this, we look at them and we associate ourselves to that power, then these doshas, these planetary situations, these devatas will not be able to influence our state of being. We may get a little illness, we may get disturbances, we may get this, that, and the other, but we hold on to that. In the journey, we will have all of this. Sabarimalaiku போறவாவெல்லாம் என்ன சொல்லுவா? They'll say கல்லும் முள்ளும் காலுக்கு மெத்தை. So they are not saying that kallu mullu will not be there. Ayyappa will not come and suddenly clear your road for you. The experience that even though it is kallu, even though it is mullu, which means that even though it is a stone, a pointed stone or a thorn, it will not bother me. It will feel like mattress, a bed to me. or their power over me will not be so much. Their akrosham or their intensity of their impact on me will be subdued, which is what it means is asan vashe. The devaha vashe means when you're saying kallum mullum kalak mettai, when you're saying that the stones and the thorns will become my mattress, they don't turn into a mattress really or a bed. They don't turn into a cushion. And you have taken control of them, which means that kallu and mullu, they are no longer having that effect on you, that which they usually have. Now, this is what the Rishi is saying. The one who understands Rucham Brahmam Janayantah Deva Agre Tadabruvan Yastvaivam Brahmano Vidyat Tasya Deva Asanvashe. So the one who knows that even through these devatas, I am trying to propitiate that supreme being. So two things happen here. One is whatever vigraham, picture, image, stone, rock, metal you have, through that you are seeing that supreme Brahman. Like how in Ishavasya Upanishad, the Rishi says, Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapi hitam mukham. Remove this golden disc, O Bhagavan, Surya. This golden disc that you're showing me is not the real you. Hiranmayena patrena. Remove that. Satyasyapi hitam mukham. Satyasya mukham darshayatu. Show me the true reality behind that. Show me the reality behind that. So the same thing, when you see whatever this is, see the truth and the reality behind this. That is what the Rishi is saying. And at the same time, also know the same reality. Now, for example, I have a particular stone, and through that I am trying to see reality. Now understand, now once I have a sense of understanding of that reality, understand that reality is coming or exhibiting itself through other stones also. This is how you approach. Why this whole process of this Agama Shastra has been set up, that you have a temple, you have an altar, you have deities, you have consecration, is through that you see the Brahman, you see the Parabrahman, or that singular consciousness, that supreme entity. And once you've seen that, or through this you work to seeing that, and knowing that through this I'm seeing that one, know that the same one is now also reflecting through the other stones and other temples and other objects. Because that is what the Rishi is saying. All the Devatas, this is before all that. So by seeing something that which is before all of this, I use one channel. Like yesterday, Shiva was asking, or someone was asking that, how do I go through Shiva or Shakti or Ganapati or Kumara, Subramanya, whatever, doesn't matter. These are all windows. Through these windows, you go look at that. Tvamevam Brahmasi. Right? In Ganapati Atharva Shirsha. So you look at that, and then you know that that is also shining through everything else. That is what the Rishi of the Purusha Suktam is saying. So he's kind of wrapping up to say, he started with explaining the whole idea of what the Purusha is and how do we perceive, how do you engage with this idea of this Purusha, how do you live your life as a yajna, sacrifice and all of that. So he talks through all that, and now he's come to a point to say that this Brahman, this Purusha, is the one that is shining through, in and through everything that you perceive in this world as Prakriti. Even the Devatas that you're holding higher than you, higher than this Prakriti, you're holding Devatas. those Devatas are also powered by the same Purusha. Right? So that is what Rishi is saying. Mudgala Upanishad by a Rishi called Mudgala. So he has written the commentary on Purusha Sukta.
So
Oh,
the Devatas, they are just pointers, Mari, yeah.
Devatas are pointers or windows.
Windows.
They're either pointers or windows. You can use the Devata to perceive the truth behind the Devata. You use them as a tool. These are all tools that are available. Like how stone is a tool, a metal is a tool, a rock is a tool, or a picture, image is a tool. A Devata is a tool. So when you get up in the morning, you do Tado Yuddha Parishrantam Samare Chintaya Sthitam. When you're doing Aditya Hridayam to Bhagavan Surya, you should understand that Bhagavan Surya is powered by this Narayana, Brahman, that power. And he is Pratyaksham Brahma. In a way, he is Brahman personified. Same thing when you look at the moon, the stars, the trees. That one.
So the Pratyakshamna enartham, exactly.
Pratyakshamna, that which is in your experience, with your five sense organs.
Perceiving using my five senses. What I perceive using my five senses.
Correct. What I using in Vedanta, there is something called as Pratyaksha Pramana. Pramana is
some kind of a proof.
Pramana is essentially information. How do you get this information? Through the five senses. Pratyaksha Pramana is through the five senses. There are different kinds of Pramana, but knowledge. Pramana essentially means knowledge. How do you get this knowledge? Through different ways, but Pratyaksha Pramana means that which you get it through your own personal five sense experience. So Pratyaksha means that which is available to you. So that is what the Rishi is saying here. Om Kayena Vacha Manasendriyerva Buddhyatmana va Prakrite Swabhavat Karomi Yatyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayanayeti Samarpayami Sadashivayeti Samarpayami Sadgurunathayeti Samarpayami Om Tat Sadgurubhyo Namaha. This is the next week. We'll look at the last verse of Purusha Suktam, and then after that we will pick up next, and then we will see what next.
நீங்க அந்த Stavamala அது அனுப்பிச்சிருந்தாலே.
Stavamala, I was thinking we'll do it on Fridays after
okay. The Mahishasuramardini. Okay.
We finish that because we'll keep Devis on Fridays. Saturday maybe we'll look at some Upanishadic work or something like that. Okay. Hari Om. Thank you. Next week, Pakala.
Hari Om.
Hari Om Guruji.
Hari Om Guruji.